My husband at the time was in prison, and I was really scared being a first-time mom. And upon his release, I decided to make some changes and not repeat the cycle with like the DV situation that was going on with us. And then in that process, my son became nonverbal.
Change is hard for anyone. So change for, a little kid is especially a lot harder. I believe that he's developed the social skills he needs to go out and really excel in a preschool setting.
Watching her transition from our home visitation program to our day treatment program, you could just see it in her appearance. And it's really been beautiful to see both of them growing together and really kind of being able to form their attachment and bond and also growing as individuals as well.
They started with 7 employees at the Anita Baldwin Hospital for Babies in the 1920s. Today, Wellnest has 300 employees providing critically needed services throughout Greater Los Angeles. From early intervention programs to comprehensive mental health care, their services have evolved to meet the changing needs of our community. From those humble beginnings, they moved to various locations, eventually landing on the grounds of the University of Southern California campus, where they stayed for many years. Then they developed their first footprint on the Vermont corridor and now have 7 locations with 2 more new construction developments in the pipeline. This is the Wellnest story.
I got involved in Wellness when I was 37 years old. In those days, the clinic was totally funded by private sources. Chuck Pollock, being head of United Way, which was a major funder, stepped in to be the chairman of the board. And he knew my mom, and we went to what was then the clinic building. He wanted me to see what we were talking about. And we looked at a 2-way window where there was a group therapy session going on. So I told him, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. It's not for me. Here, 50 years later, here I am.
David Hirsch is a highly dedicated and generous board member. He has amazing enthusiasm. And the first thing he will say is, what do we need to do to make this happen?
They were building the new building on Adams. And my grandfather, because he was from the construction industry, our families were general contractors, he chaired the building committee. David Hirsch actually came out to our company to recruit my dad to go on the board. But my dad said, why don't you talk to Mark? And so that was in 1982, and that's when I went on the boards.
There have been many families instrumental to guiding and supporting the mission and vision of Wellness. One of those families is the Lockheim, who have served for 4 generations on the board of directors.
Mark Lockheim, we were kind of tasked to find a way to build the buildings. We had a place to go.
One of the folks that Chuck Pollock knew very well was Roy Disney.
So I called his assistant. She said, come see him, he'll see you, but he's probably not going to want to do this. So Mark and I went down to Disney. He said, I don't do this. And so we persuaded him, and he did it. He did it. And not only did he give us money, Disney gave us money, and the family gave us money.
My great-grandparents were on the board, and I was fortunate enough to spend a good chunk of my childhood with my great-grandfather until I was 15. And I think he sort of laid the foundation, which passed down to my grandparents and to my dad and to me, the importance of giving back to the community that we live in.
Elijah was having behavior issues. Every day I had to come to the school and he was throwing like tantrums and different things, so he needed a little more support. His teacher had recommended Wellness for us. A lot of the things that they were teaching him here, I took that home with me, and the breathing techniques with him that kind of calmed him down and let him know to be safe with his body.
The breathing rainbow is a technique we like to introduce to the children where they get to choose their favorite color. So I know Elijah likes red, so he would always pick red, and we would breathe in the color red and then breathe out the color red.
Me and my son both, we grew a lot from this program.
My immediate predecessor was Betsy Frum. She was a trailblazer and a staunch advocate for children's mental health, someone that I admire tremendously. We have always been a training organization for psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, marriage and family therapists, as well as other adjunctive therapies.
Well, I found myself in Wellnest due to a lot of complications when I was younger. I'd say it started off with a little bit of depression, and then that kind of boosted a lot of anxiety. I had already been dealing with toxic stress levels at home. I had some school bullying from ages like 5 to 13. So I was exposed to a lot of things, and I found Wellness after my mom caught me purging my food.
Sophia's story is but one story. There are so many more. She received a full scholarship to attend Vassar. She is an employee of ours at Wellness and now on her way to UCLA to obtain her master's degree.
When I was 18, I was living in placement. And when you're 18, that's basically you age out of placement. I had just graduated high school. I was trying to go to college and I couldn't because I was getting into it with family, and I didn't have a stable place to stay.
I know Tyler is in internship and doing different things and really working on bettering himself. This agency has provided that safety net for him so that he can focus on expanding for his future. And I was happy to see him receive housing. If this service wasn't available, Tyler's success rate, I don't think it would have been where it is now.
If you can make one change in a child's life and you can change their future, I think being a part of that in any way I can is really important to me.
I'm thrilled and excited as we prepare for the next century of services, as we continue to evolve and provide the critically needed services for the emotional well-being of our children and communities.
Celebrating 100 years of extraordinary service to the LA community, Wellness responded to and continues to respond to the clarion call of those in need. You can be the inspiration for the next generation.